G'day and welcome back. Todd from Toxic Garage Customs. I'll keep this intro brief. Basically, this is the second part of the seat installation. And good news, this was a quick job. Got it finished. So by the end of this video, you'll see the finished product. I hope you enjoy it. See you later. They sound pretty good so far. Got the cable connected up again. This will all be coming apart again. What I imagine is in the short term, because it's my go-to colour, I'll probably paint those black after they're finished. But what I did on Toxic was I had all this, what did I do with that? I think I had this wrapped, and then I made up a panel that covered all this and had it wrapped as well in the same fabric as the seat. So everything seems to work okay. That's good. That one would fall back. So let's pop it in. Well, it's got a bit cold and windy here, I have to say, and during that wind, sometime the camera fell over, so I apologise for that. You'll probably never see it because I'll edit it out anyway. But what I can tell you is I'm really happy with the seat. I think it's excellent. It's a really good height. As I said, I wouldn't want to put any bigger steering wheel on it, but it seems to work. Well, I will put a slightly bigger steering wheel on it, but it seems to work. Now, if you have a look at the way it's positioned there, you can see that it's leaning back. It's lower at the back than it is at the front, and as I said, that's intentional, and the idea is that as you slide forward it lifts forward, and as you slide back it goes down. And it's for taller and shorter people. I'm exceptionally happy with that. That mounting technique is going to work. I've only got one clamp just holding it in place there at the moment, and the full sliding function works. I like the proportions, and if you look at the steering wheel and the seat, it really does have a lower stance to it, but I can sit my elbow on the windowsill, which is super important, comfortably. I think it's going to be okay for a shorter person or a taller person as far as the reach to the pedal goes. I like it. I have to say I'm very happy. So that is the height that the seat is going to be mounted. So now I'm going to move along with the rest of getting that done and dusted. Seems pretty straightforward so far. Seat back out, mounts off, got the mount sitting in place, marked out where everything sits before taking it out, got it nice and centered. So, got that sitting in place while I took the seat out so I can work on it more easily. Get some bolts in here, get some fastenings happening there. Once I've got those there, as far as I'm concerned, I can box this in, finish it off, put the seat back in, and then the only thing left to do is trim it. And as far as the seat goes, it'll be done. So that's a job. Good stuff. So jump ahead a little bit, and I've done a bit more work to these. So I've welded up the plate on this end, drilled some holes there, and I changed my mounting on the front. I decided that the back remained the same. The back remained the same, so I can get these bolts, pop them through there. So there's two bolts that'll go through there with washers and so on. So I'll be able to get to that later on once the seat's in place. The seat actually sits quite low, so originally I was going to get my hand in underneath, so that I could put a bolt up under into this square section. But I decided that I didn't think I'd be able to be dexterous enough, bendy enough to be able to do that. So what I did instead was I just made up, I actually had a little 90-degree bend in a piece of metal It's actually the same metal that I made the tabs at the back out of. And all I've done is drilled a hole there, put it down, and so there'll be a nut dropped into there. So I'm just getting started on this side. So that'll just have a bolt drop down through it there. And then later on, I think it will be easy enough for me to be able to get my hand in there to tighten that underneath the seat. But I will weld the nut underneath so that I'm only trying to do one thing rather than two. So I'm happy with that. What I've got is the way the bracket is mounted on the back there, it stops it from pulling up that way. So the bolts are going in horizontally, and here they're going vertically. So to me, that's opposing forces, so it just has to give it extra strength. I may put a plate behind there just to spread the load, or I may just put some really big washers, which I'll see. I'll work that out. So yeah, I'll do this side over here, and then I'll bring you back. So I've drilled the holes here. So just a couple of little things that make life easier. In the first place, I took this off. I drilled 2 holes in the brace where I wanted them, just pilot holes, 3mm. Then I sat it back in place, and then I drilled the holes through. So I used the same pilot holes to drill through to mark out the holes that were going into the body. That way they're in an identical position, dead centered to each other. That helps, otherwise your holes get out of line. Similar sort of thing, so make life easy for yourself at all points. If you can do something at a workbench rather than leaning over a car or squashed into the corner next to your spare parts, then take it to a workbench. Even if it's a portable picnic table like I'm using for the seat. I'm right next to my workshop, but just as an example. So this bracket, this is what I said I was going to make, so I've made it. I, in the first place, sat it in place. It was just a piece of steel. I worked out what I wanted, and in fact, I've just realised I'm going to have to shorten it through here because, oh no, actually, sorry, I tell a lie, that's fine. So I've just sort of cut it to the shape that I want, but this hole was already there, so I've left it there. I'm just going to plug weld onto here with that. So over here, I've drilled a pilot hole already, just there, and in fact, yep, I've drilled a pilot hole just there, and that particular pilot hole, I'm going to clamp everything in place where I want it, then I'm going to drill a pilot hole through there, so the same drill bit, this drill bit just here, where are we? That drill bit just there, going to drill through there so that the holes are in identical position. Then I will enlarge this hole and I'll enlarge the hole below it, but they'll be perfectly centered to each other. Once I'm happy that I've got all of that in the right place, I'm going to clamp this bracket to here, then I'll take it away to my bench and I'll weld it up, bring it back, and I'll do any of the other welding I need to do as well. Before doing that, I'm going to go through and I'll grind the paint off here, because there's no point me clamping this to here only to find that I've got paint there that's in the way, because I can't weld on top of paint. So I'll grind it off and I'll prepare it as much as I can here before I go taking it away or making life harder for myself. So I'm thinking just one step ahead, not trying to overthink it, just one step ahead. So just a couple of little tips. And when you're climbing in and out of a car over to the other side where it's not easy to get in and out, just bring anything you think you possibly might need, because you're guaranteed to need them. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here. It's night time again. I'm cold. I got these things finished, which is great. So I've put them in etch primer. I'm going to give them a rub down with some Scotch Brite so the paint can bind. I'm going to give them a couple of coats of satin black paint, and then I'm going to leave them. And then I've got to do some stuff tomorrow morning that isn't involved in this. And then when I come back, I'm going to put those onto the seat, which is in front of me here, and I'm going to put it in there. Got to scratch all the black paint, doesn't matter, I can touch that later. And then once that's in place, I'm going to play around with putting my accelerator pedal in. And you never know, if I get excited, if I get time, I might even start with the column shift linkages. Actually don't even know if I've got all the parts, but how do you find out? Have a look. So I don't know how long this video's run for. Could be broken into 2 videos. You'll find out once I publish it or them. So once again, thanks for being with me. Dog's going absolutely crazy in the background. Thanks for being with me. This was the seat installation for the International. You didn't think I'd leave you hanging, did you? That's them in paint, and that dog is still barking. So they're right to go. This isn't the end of the video. I'm going to put those on the seat, and I'm going to bolt the seat in the truck, but that'll have to be tomorrow. Okay, so my good friend Nick came over to have a chat, as he does, which is always nice, and I thought this was too good an opportunity to miss. So Nick has been very kind and helped me lift the seat in. So what we have is it's mounted in place. It works beautifully. So I'm going to attempt to hold the camera and do this one-handed. And that was one-handed operation of the seat sliding forward. So this is the brackets that we fabricated. So you can see the tab down the back there with a couple of bolts. There'll be washers, there'll be spring washers and so on. But also on the back here, I'm going to make up just little rectangular plates, and I'll weld the nuts to them, and I'll weld the plate to the back of the steel, so that all I'll need to do is put the bolts in without having to try to hold the nuts. And the same thing with underneath the front tab just here. Put the light on. The front tab just here. So we've got a bolt popping through there, and I'll put a plate underneath, capture the nut, and that'll all be good. But that's the finished product. I'm exceptionally happy with the way it's come up. It is quite discreet. It's lowered the seat in the way that I wanted it to. It gives me a good elbow on windowsill ride position, which is my desired. It gives me good knee to steering wheel clearance with that height. And because it's adjustable, back, forwards, tilt and all that good stuff, then it gives me a good comfortable driving position. Exceptionally happy with it. In the big picture of things, it was actually a pretty easy job. Took a day, so yeah, again, if you're at a workshop, you're probably looking at $1,000. Do it yourself, took me a day. It cost me nothing in materials other than some welding wire and a bit of gas, because everything was scrap. So that's the end of the seat installation, which we're ticking boxes here. Done the steering column, brake booster, brake pedal. We've got the seat in, move along to the accelerator pedal next, and then I have absolutely no idea where we're going to go after that, but I'll work it out because there's plenty to do. Once again, thanks for joining me. If you like what I'm doing, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and I really enjoy the comments, by the way. I've had a few coming through, and they're all positive, and it's people watching and asking questions, so please keep doing that. I really enjoy it. Till next time, have a good day. Thank you.